Yo, what's up, guys? What it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha, the God. I don't know what's up with the light. 1 second, these settings be tripping 24/7. Um, but yo, so I just finished Yugami Kun Has No Friends, and first of all, to the author, phenomenal work, man. It's way too short of a fucking manga. I will say that, but it's short and sweet. You know what I'm saying? Only 81, 80 chapters. Oh, 81. Yeah, 81 chapters. Only, I think I might be tripping. 80 chapters, 81. It's like around them, right? It's one of those, man. It's not too many chapters, bro. It's really short, but it's really concise and it's really strong. Now I was a little bit annoyed at the last chapter when he wouldn't say that they're friends. That really annoyed me. But I kind of had a feeling it was because perhaps he likes her as more than a friend. So why would he say that? That's my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I think this all but confirmed it. So they spent 1 year apart without seeing each other. And obviously Chihiro is still interested in what he's doing and still talking to people to find out what he's doing and all that jazz. Turns out they actually go, I don't know if they go to the same university or whatever, but they're both living alone close enough to each other because she got into a second choice. She didn't get into her first choice. And I suppose he got into his first choice, which was her second choice, even though he's an all-honor student. I don't know, or maybe they just go like to university in the same city. And see, they don't really explain all that. They really should have. But anyway, so maybe they go to the university in the same city, but I think her family actually moved away. They do go to the university. Okay, so her second choice was to stay at home, essentially. And her family moved away, actually, to the States. Well, her mother moved to the States for a bit to stay with the dad. And she stayed with her sister. And obviously, my boy, who wants to be an astronaut, Yugami or Yuji, decided to actually stay with his family as well. He lived away actually for I think a semester, and then he decided to move in back at home after that. He probably didn't enjoy living by himself that much. And it turns out that he started seeing. So okay, let me talk about the second last chapter, I suppose, before I talk about the last chapter. So it seemed as if he like Chihiro was the only one thinking about Yugami. Yugami was just going about his daily life, just living, just doing him, trying to be an astronaut, watching Rakugo every fucking day. And then for some reason he meets her and he's like, "Oh, here's a ticket. Let's go to Rakugo together." And you're like, okay. So they go and they keep going and they go for like 3 months. They're going every week for like 3 months to Rakugo. This guy's working his ass off, like working his job just to buy 2 Rakugo tickets. And it's like, what? This is Yugami-kun? And then even her friends are like, "Oh, it seems like you've been hanging out with Yugami a lot." And she's like, "I don't know why." Because there's always a reason with this guy. You know what I'm saying? There's always a reason with this guy. So she tries not to think too much of it. But even she can't kind of help but be like, "Damn, bro, like, what's popping, baby? What's popping?" So then we get to a point, man. Why am I looking? One sec, man. One sec, baby. Get that beautiful light, man. See, now I'm glowed up, man. God damn. So then we get to a point. This is like my favorite place to record, man. I ain't gonna lie. This is like this spot right here. The lighting is perfect, bro. You know what I'm saying? Make me look fresh as hell, boy. I ain't even talking about the manga. But then we get to a point, essentially, where she's like, "Man, they've been hanging out for like 3 months." And then they go to a show. And it turns out that Yuji or Yugami has become the main character from the Rakugo guy's story. And, he sees them together and Chihiro's like, he's not smiling at us. He hardly remembers us, right? And it turns out that the story is about Yuji and being a stubborn little shit, essentially. And he wanted her to hear it. And then she was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Oh, it could." And then she was like, "So you wanted me to come through to hear that story, your story? Like that's the reason?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, well, I didn't expect him to tell it for at least another few years. And then in her head, she's like, wait, so you're going to keep buying me Rakugo tickets for the next few years? Because first when she says that, he's like, oh, well, and in her head, she's like, damn, I guess we're not going to see each other anymore because I got to see the story. And then he's like, well, I didn't think he was going to tell the story so soon. And then she's like, well, I suppose peace kind of thing, because, you know, she's kind of used to not expecting that shit from him. And then he takes out another ticket and gives it to her. And he's just like, but I already saw what you wanted me to see. And he's like, well, it's a work in progress. Like, last time I heard it, it was different. So I'm sure next time we hear it, it's going to be different. And she's like, what? And then, yeah, you know, that essentially tells you everything you need to know. Like, it's basically saying that obviously he wants to see her all the time. So, and then in the 80.5, chapter 80.5, we see an even more awesome happening or whatever the fuck. And basically what happens there is that Chihiro is consistently thinking about him and even becomes a proper fan of baseball, which she kind of became a fan of baseball anyway, but she becomes a proper diehard fan of baseball and understands the rules better and all that shit. And yeah, she feels a bit lonely, but then when she starts watching baseball, she doesn't feel as lonely. And then the girl that liked that used to like Yuji at the start, or Yugami at the start, actually ends up obviously being popular because she was always super attractive or whatever. But I don't really care about the other characters. Well, I do, but like whatever. Let's just talk about the main characters. But basically, then we find out that our boy Yugami, every time he was strolling, he sees inanimate shit, and for some reason he'd think of Chihiro, and he'd be like, oh, that's because she liked sewing shit. That must be why. And then it got to a point where he was like, okay, how the fuck am I thinking of her while seeing a fucking toy on TV? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? And then I think he realized at that stage, okay, I maybe I want to see her. And then it turns out he found out, I think, where she lives, probably by just asking around or just by, being fucking Yugami, and maybe looking at her. I don't know, she had no phone or whatever. So he basically sat down and waited for her. And then when he saw her, he pretended to just run into her, which is so cute. He was sitting down probably for God knows how long. Because I suppose she lives in the same place. So, yeah, I think she lives at her parents' place. But her parents are like, yeah, I think she still lives with her parents. So she was living alone, right? So maybe she got an apartment close enough by. I don't know how he know. I don't know how he knew where she lives, bro. I have no idea. I don't know. But basically, he sits down and waits for her anyway. Maybe he stalked her. I don't know. I'm not joking. But see, that's what annoys me, because the chapter is so quick and so short. You don't understand little minute details like that, and that kind of annoys me, because I like to understand that. But basically, he sits down anyway, waits for her, and she pulls up, man. She pulls up, and it's, and then he's like, oh, what a coincidence. Which actually happened in the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, it was like, oh, what a coincidence, you know what I'm saying? And then in this chapter, it doesn't even do that. It's just him getting up, and then the exact conversation that happened in the previous chapter happens. So you're like, oh shit, this is how he got her the ticket. He was just like, oh, what a coincidence. But I have a second ticket here. Take that and come to me in Rakugo, you know what I'm saying? And obviously she's always been wanting to see the boy. So bam, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't know if I'm missing a chapter here. If I am missing a chapter, I'm pretty sure it's the chapter where Chihiro decides that, look, it doesn't matter if, I think I am. It doesn't matter if he doesn't see me as a friend. To me, he's a dear friend. Because essentially when they're leaving and it's the finals and all that stuff, Yugami gives this crazy ass speech where he basically just gives his whole ideology. and he says how much he loves Rakugo and that he doesn't need any friends and that nobody really needs friends and they should worry about themselves first and put themselves first, and that's the only way that they can truly care about other people is by caring about themselves first and foremost and make sure that they're good, because that way how they feel about other people is authentic. And he gave this beautiful speech that was a little bit crazy at the same time, and he was just like, yeah, that's basically what happened the other chapter. I don't really care about the other chapter. I care about this ending, bro. I just gave you 3 reviews in less than fucking 10 minutes, bro. Come on, bro. But yeah, I'm so happy with that ending because honestly, I was a little bit annoyed at I was happy actually. Actually, to be fair, I was actually satisfied by the last chapter, the actual last chapter, not the 0.5 one. Because as soon as he was like, oh, like this thing is supposed to go on, I didn't think he was going to perform it for a few years. That just told me everything I needed to know. You know what I mean? My dude started working part-time, left the fucking, because he got a scholarship and shit. He left that dorm and shit, quit baseball, and decided to start working. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's how he knew her fucking location. God damn, I'm so stupid, bro. Okay, so he delivered her pizza, bro. You know what I'm saying? He delivered her pizza, and then he just being Yugami, he was like, oh, Chips is on the house. I think he saw the name and was probably fucking delighted. Because he probably knew she orders, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, I need to work somewhere that somehow I can discover this motherfucker, bro. Pulls up, delivers, and is like, oh, the Chips is on the house. And then charges her. And then he just fucks off. He was like, and then the next time he sees her, he's like, oh, you're going to be fat if you keep eating all these takeaways. You know what I'm saying? That's how he knew her house. So he waited there. He couldn't stop thinking about her. He was like, fuck, finally I see this motherfucker. Can't stop thinking about her. I need to see her again. Boom. That's fucking romance, and it's different. There's no kissing. It's not lovey-dovey. And Chihiro is the greatest person on the fucking planet, and that's great to see. I'm so happy with the ending. I'm so happy with how it goes. I know it's kind of low-key an open ending, but come on, I think the author just told you everything you need to know. That obviously Yugami likes her, and she likes him, and it also even put that they kept meeting up every time after that, and they even were just eating food together outside Rakugo. I think he just used that as an excuse to really just hang out with her, because he wants to keep seeing that Rakugo show evolve with her every time. So obviously that means something. That means he wants to essentially spend the rest of his life with her. My boy just went from I'm not even your friend to I want to marry you. Essentially, bro, that's madness, which is great as well, man. I'm just so happy that we finished it, man, because I started reading this like 3, maybe 4, maybe I don't even know how many years ago, and I remember I loved it so much, but there was only like 17 chapters out, bro, and then there was no upload for the longest time, bro, and I was like, bruh. So when I came back to reading it, I think it was up to like 40 chapters, maybe 50. I was like, bruh, I can't remember. I don't care about his characters, so I had to restart the whole shebang again so I can feel, you know what I'm saying, refeel that segment, because it was so many years apart. And then these guys started uploading consistently, and I was so delighted, man. And then there was like a 6-month hiatus, and I was so pissed off, man. I was like, bruh. And then finally they decided to finish this shit, so I'm so happy. Thank you translators. Thank you so fucking much, man. I'll try to link the shit below, because them scanlators are fucking awesome for this shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's been your boy Supreme Uchiha, the God. I need to turn my showering on off for the last time for Yugami Kun. I don't know if you guys want me to keep talking about Yugami Kun, just give me 5 likes and leave like at least 3 comments, you know what I'm saying? And I'll do videos about like, you know, the psyche of like Yugami, you know what I'm saying, the psyche of Chihiro, you know what I'm saying, the psyche of all these characters, and you know, the psychology of it and all that kind of jazz, you know what I'm saying. We can talk about it, we can get more in depth, we can have theories in regards to how the relationship goes after this, you know, which I think is still kind of obvious, but we can have fun with it. We can talk about how, you know, the exact detailing of how, you know, perhaps Yugami came to liking Chihiro. I always think that from the very, very start, Chihiro had a special place in his mind, and he just didn't get it. He didn't get why, how, or any of that until he couldn't see her anymore. You know what I'm saying? When he couldn't see her anymore for a year, I think that's when it hit him. like, damn, why do I feel like I want to see this person all the time? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the difference, because, you know, when you see somebody the whole time, you can take them for granted, and, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think that shit made a lot of sense for this one. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's been your boy Supreme with Chiha the God. Make sure to subscribe, live a life, live a comment, man. I'm so glad that this shit is concluded nicely, and I hope there's a few more point something chapters, and I'll talk about them if they do drop. And again, if you guys leave 5 likes and 3 comments, 1000% I will talk about this way more. You know what I'm saying? It's been your boy Supreme. Peace out. All that gang shit.